One. Oh
Boom.
yeah, there it is. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another fun episode. This one's gonna hit a little bit on your mindset. Do you ever feel like you're just faking it until you make it and then like you're never gonna make it? Well, that's what we're gonna talk about today.
The Insurance Bro Show is a podcast for agents who want to grow their agency and be titans of the insurance industry. Learn from a panel of experts who share their agency struggles, their experiences with the nation's best carriers, and share the marketing secrets that successful insurance agents are using today. Now, here's your host, the Insurance Bro, James Cias.
Bro, all right, all you insurance pros out there. Before we get into the show, just a quick reminder to please subscribe on whichever platform it is that you're listening to us on today. Give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe, and drop a review and help other like-minded insurance agents find value from our guests and our content as we rise up in those podcast rankings. We'll really appreciate every single one of you for it. If you want to be a guest on the show, I would love to have you on and learn from you as well. Go to www.insurancebroshow.com/guest to schedule your time slot. Don't forget to follow me on all my social media at Insurance Bro Show. So fun one today. Fun-ish, I guess. I mean, it depends on where you're coming from, who you are, and you know what your mindset is right now. This is going to be fun because when it comes right down to it, I get this a lot. This imposter syndrome. I struggle with it.
I think we
And
all do, dude. It doesn't. I don't think it really matters where you are in the success ladder, where you are in your business. I think we all suffer from imposter syndrome.
Definitely. And, you know, for some people like me, it's mindset first, right? Like I got to get my brain right. Because if my brain ain't right, like I can't do anything. And so I keep like my journals sitting right here next to me and a pad of paper sitting right here next to me. Because sometimes I just got to write it all out. And I spent a little bit of time actually doing that today for whatever reason, you know, whatever is on my mind. And you know, this is just kind of something that has been in the background, just been going on. And so I figured, you know what, why not? If this is what I'm thinking about today, let's just do a show on it. So
Why
we
not?
got this, why not, right? We got this article from impostersyndrome.com. Right. So thank you very much to the author down here. Her name is Valerie Young. Yeah, she wrote this all up. So lots to talk about, lots to get into. I know, like I said, like you said, everybody goes through it at some point or another. So shall we jump right into it? Anything we want to talk about before we do?
No, I like her subtitle in here. The only way to stop feeling like an imposter is to stop thinking like an imposter. And it's part of that whole state of mind, right? How do you get your mind in the right state to stop thinking about certain things, to start thinking about like the story that you tell yourself in your own mind, what you wake up this morning, dude. It was cold this morning.
Yeah, it was.
And the alarm went off at 4:20 and I opened up my eyes and I looked around and I like, you know, when you wake up and you know that as soon as you take the blankets off, you're going to freeze, but and I didn't want to get up. And this is one of those things that you and I go back and forth on this whole imposter thing is, you know, but who cares? Like, I'm not really that important anyways. I don't need to get up. I don't have to do this. I don't think of myself as, you know, the sexiest guy in the mirror anyways. I don't, you know, all these different things that you might be able to tell your own self. I think a lot of times we got to call that BS on it, right? Whether you the actual BS or your belief system, whatever way you want to do it, but believing that you can do more. Like not just telling yourself that you can do more, because it's one thing that people tell you things. It's another thing when you tell yourself, but it's completely different when you believe it, like when you're capable of doing it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and, you know, literally I've been on calls all day with teachers and we were talking about the students during this first semester of distance learning, right? Grades are due this week, end of semester grades. And I have kids that have hopped on and have like turned in all kinds of late work, like tons of it. Right. And so what is that
in high school?
Right. But what does that tell me? That tells me that they were capable. It's not that they were incapable. They were fully capable. They didn't want to do it. They made it,
Right.
whatever the reason was before, they may have thrown anxiety in the mix, the COVID time, I slept in. I don't care what the excuse is. It was just that. It's an excuse that you give
every time.
yourself, and
Mhm.
you allow yourself to accept it as what stops you from doing whatever it is you want to do. So I just think we're very much more capable than we give ourselves credit.
I 100% agree with you, and I'm gonna switch. Oh no, that didn't work. Never mind. I was trying to find that one thing. Our greatest fear is not that we are incapable, but that we are adequate beyond measure.
Yeah.
But
But
then
when
we'd
you
have to
change the
switch the
banner,
whole.
yeah, you have the
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
thing.
yeah. But
It's all right, but
anyway,
it's true. All right,
but
let's
it's
jump into
true.
this.
It's true. So getting into ways to overcome imposter syndrome. Number one, break the silence, which is exactly what I'm doing here today. Not everybody has a podcast that they can jump onto and have these discussions with, but hopefully you all have friends or family or, spouses or, significant others, whatever, people that you can rely on, somebody that you can talk to, a friend, a mentor, a colleague, whatever, somebody there to say, shit, man, I'm feeling like a fraud today. Like I'm just going through the motions and, it doesn't really matter. It's just, I feel like it's all fake, and like you were saying, just when we started here, everybody goes through it. It is not unique to just you. So I think that one thing that a lot of people do, and I have over the years learned not to do this, is to try and just be tough, right? Like you don't want to talk about it, you don't want to express it, you don't want to bring it up to anybody else. You just like, nope, I just gotta tough it. I just gotta, you're all about this. Just act, and it's gonna go away, right?
Yeah.
For me, talking about it with somebody or writing it out helps a lot to like push me into being able to act. Maybe sometimes writing it all out doesn't completely take it away, but it takes it away enough that I can move forward onto the next thing and then start to build that momentum.
But breaking the silence to me is more like admitting to yourself and to others there's a vulnerability there, right? That you're not good at something, that you're struggling with something, that something rubbed you the wrong way. And the reason why the power of vulnerability is so strong is one of the reasons why you're doing it so much on your Instagram stories is because humans connect with other humans, right? The flaw that social media has put on things is that everything is perfect, that we have the perfect car and the perfect house and the perfect spouse and the perfect day with a perfect view. Like everything is supposed to be perfect. And we're afraid to talk about the invulnerabilities that we have, the weaknesses that we've come across. I was about to flip out today at work. Like this guy cut me off. I was not able to meet my deadline. Like there's so many people who are going through the same thing that when you're able to break the silence, it's uncomfortable for you at first, yes, but you connect with other people. You open up the door for other people to say, I'm going through that too. Like this, and as soon as you're able to do that, when you connect with somebody, you're also opening the door to see other people's solutions, other people's point of views, and they're willing to share with you because you were willing to share first.
Hells yeah. Number two, speaking of willingness to share, separate your feelings from fact. So when you're talking to those people and you're talking about your feelings, a lot of that imposter syndrome really is just feeling. It's emotion. It's probably other things that are getting you down, other things that are on your mind. And it's like, it's the spiral, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes it is like a business thing, right? I look at my bank account and it's not as big as I want it to be, right? Or I feel like I'm struggling to make one thing or another happen. I have to make a choice of what to do with the funds that I have available, and like I want my business to be so successful that I don't have to make that choice, that I can just get both, or whatever the case might be. And those are all feelings. Those are things that can start that spiraling motion where you just go down and down and down and down. But again, that's all emotion, and me being that emotional person, I know exactly what that's like. I know that feeling. I know how easy it is to get caught up and sucked down. But to separate the feelings from fact is taking a look at the things that you have done and to me, it's finding the things that you can believe. It's finding the things that, maybe right now, today, in my imposter syndrome feeling state, I can't believe that I'm going to be the best freaking businessman. I'm going to build a Fortune 500 company. I can't believe that, I'm the best CEO that ever lived. Maybe I can't believe that, but you know what? I believe, and I can look back and I can say, I built a business that has 30 contracted agents, and I have 4 employees, and the way that we've built it and everything that we've worked for, I've been able to create a little salary for myself so that, so that I can live. These are things that I've done. These are big, huge,
Facts.
monumental facts that I don't have to try to believe. They just are. They're facts. And so that feeling, it's a good way to stop the momentum on that spiral and start to look at other things that have worked out.
It reminds me of broke versus poor, right? So there are times in an entrepreneur's life, in anybody's life, where you're gonna feel broke, and it could be that you've invested a lot of money and your account is not in a comfortable position. You're broke, but poor is eternal. The mindset of being poor is different than the temporary position of being broke. Just because you don't have the money in your account right now doesn't mean that you're poor. It means that you're temporarily broke. And this is how you're framing things and how you're telling yourself about what's going on that's gonna shape the way you look at things. If you keep saying things like you're poor, that is not a fact, right? That is not what's going on. That's how you feel right now. But change it a little bit, right? Broke is temporary, poor is eternal. You make mistakes in life. You are not the mistake. You are a culmination of a bunch of mistakes, actually. I mean, you can even go all the way back, and most of us were born as a mistake. So, just throwing that out there, right? But the point is,
a good number of us, yeah.
Right? A good number of us, right? But the point here is that every single mistake is what shapes us and makes us better. It's how we learn. That's how we learn to walk. We learn from falling down a bunch of times, and then we decide that, oh, this is how we do it. And we learn from that point. So you are not the mistake. You're learning from every mistake, but you're not that mistake itself.
Hails, yeah. All right, number 3 is kind of a funky one. Recognize when you should feel fraudulent. So I just kind of went to read this one. If you're the only one of a few people meeting in a classroom, whatever, who look or sound like you are much older, then it's only natural that you'd sometimes feel like you totally don't fit in. Okay, so this is just basically saying, recognize times that you actually don't fit in. If you're hanging out with a bunch of astronauts and you're not an astronaut, that's when you can feel like a little bit of a fraud. But I don't know.
No, well, for me, this is surrounding yourself with the right people, right? You always hear that analogy of you're the sum of the 5 people that you hang out the most with.
I love
right?
that. Yeah.
Well, who are you hanging out with? So if you're hanging out with a group of people that are not suiting your best interest, you are an imposter. You're trying to be like people that you think you want to hang out with, but that does not align with the vision of what you want for your life. If you want something specific, then you need to align yourself with those kinds of people. And just because those people are smarter than you doesn't mean that you're an imposter in that group. It means that you're learning from those people, you're gaining that knowledge, you're learning their experiences, and you're going to move forward. But if you're surrounding yourself with other people because they're funny and you've known them since high school and whatever that dynamic is, now you're being a fraud to yourself, to your core values. You're fraudulent in that case because you're not lined up with where you want to be. So just because I'm not saying go get rid of all your friends, that's not what I'm saying, but who are you spending your time with? And if you're spending too much time with that group, you're an imposter in that group because that's not really what you ultimately want to go. You just don't have the cojones to actually take yourself out of that situation and put yourself in the other uncomfortable situation where it's people that you may not know as well, but you're trying to be like.
That makes sense. And when it comes down to it, those groups, when you're around those 5 people, you often have a lot more to contribute than you might think.
Oh yeah. Accentuate the positive. Number 4.
Took the word right out of my mouth. It's all good. Accentuate the positive. This is exactly what I was talking about. Think about the things that you have done. Think about the things that you have accomplished. Or, sometimes it's just as easy as like Eric says, right? Gratitude. Because you can't be mad when you're feeling grateful. and find all the things that you possibly can to feel grateful about. Sometimes it's as simple as feeling grateful for my dog. She's just sitting right back here, and she's just a good girl. She's just the sweetest girl, and I can go up and give her all the love and, you know, whatever, and just be thankful that I have this awesome, amazing puppy to love and care for. Or, you know, whatever, be thankful that I have this nice standing desk and high chair, you know, because it's really good for when my hip wasn't hurting. It was really nice to be able to stand up throughout the day, and, you know, whatever. Just find all the different things that you can. Thankful for my awesome coffee mug that keeps my tea really, really hot, like all day. It's fantastic. I love it. Little things.
It could be the little things. And for me, it's always been in the consistency of what I do, right? So whatever your daily habits are that you're successful at, there are certain things that I do every single day, and I make sure that I do those. And when I do those, I feel good about my day, right? Those are the positive things. If anything else happens in the day, it doesn't matter, because those things were done. They were taken care of up front, ahead of time, and I'm ready to rock and roll. Like, for example, today was running commission statements or whatever I needed to do, right? So all those different things that you have to do on a regular basis, when you accomplish them, those are wins. And don't knock yourself down when you don't actually achieve every single one. But at the same time, give yourself credit for the ones that you do.
Hell yes. Number 5.
Oops.
Develop a healthy response to failure and mistake making. Man, I have developed a very healthy response to failure and mistake making, because I do it all the time.
Man.
I mean, I can go all the way back to, you know, high school days, and, you know, it's funny. I've actually done this, like, in my head, where there are specific mistakes that I've made through my life that have put me on a path to where I am today. Like
Moments in time.
Like, let me go all the way back to 2nd grade, where I basically quit on school because I was done with my math homework and I didn't want to do it. And, like, from that point forward, I was just a terrible student. And that led me to the school where I was at, that put me with the friends that I did, that led me to flipping my first car, my truck.
And by flipping, he doesn't mean flipping it for more money. He means literally
like actually flipping it over, which led me to starting my business, you know, our first business. And, you know, all throughout that era, you know, meeting that girl that broke my heart, that sent me to the Navy, and then everything that's happened since. I mean, plenty of mistakes. And even though there's a lot of times that I still make mistakes, and I still, you know, worry and wonder about the mistakes that I may or may not have made, probably one of the best things that I did for myself was realize that, how does it go? There's actually, like, a little saying, but the best part of it is, when you're worried about the future, it's anxiety. And there was this moment that I remember when I recognized, you know, all of these worries and all of these fears and this, you know, imposter syndrome that I was going through one day. It was all anxiety. And just being able to identify it and say, oh, that's what it is. Now it's like, okay, I can put it in this box and I can throw it aside, and then I can keep going through my day. What you got to say about this one?
Well, I mean, just the fact that you can identify it, right? So just the fact that you can point it out and give it a name, right? When you look back in your past, and everybody does this, the only issue with this is dwelling on that past, right? But looking at the mistake and understanding that it happened and what you learned for it and how you've become a better individual, I think that's the key part to having that healthy response to that failure or that mistake, right? But when you live in that moment, when that's the only thing you can think about going forward, now you're living in regret. Right. And that's one of those things that you want to avoid doing, because you're never going to get out of that hole. You can never change that decision that you've already made. And it's trippy, because sometimes I watch shows like death row shows, right? These guys that have stories that they killed somebody when they were 16 years old, and they've been in prison for the last 40 years or whatever, right? And it really kind of makes me wonder, like, there's certain things where you're driving on the road and you answer a text message, those little moments in time can have grand effects on the rest of your life. And those are small little insignificant moments that could have major effects. So look back in your own life. There are certain things that you've made mistakes on, but quickly identify them. This is what I learned from it, right? It's like any cool scar that you have. You don't want to relive the scar, but you do want to relive the lesson, and you do want to relive that what you learned from it, and hold on to the lesson to make something of your future, right? So you're not making the same mistakes over and over again.
There you go. There you go. All right, moving on. Number 6, write the rules. So just to read a little bit, it's if you've ever operated under the misguided rules, like I should always know the answer or never ask for help. So it's basically, these are the stories that you've told yourself over the years, right? I'll give you an easy one. Boys don't cry, right? How many times did we hear that growing up, right? Los hombres no lloran. Right? I remember hearing that from grandpa, like, los hombres no lloran, boys don't cry. Like, those are stories that we've told ourselves over the years that, man, this generation, this generation that's growing up right now, they're changing all of that. And it's awesome to see it in a lot of different ways for the new generation coming up. Like, not going to get into that too much, but for us as adults, there are stories that we've told ourselves about things that we're supposed to do, things that we should be. And oh man, I love that line from Endgame, right? Where Thor is talking to his mom and she's like, everybody fails at what they're supposed to be. You just got to be what you are.
And like, that's the truth.
That's it.
That's the truth. Like, that's all you can be.
It's all you can be.
And you know, to Thor's mom's credit, like, it doesn't mean that you stop getting better, right? You're still trying to get better every single day, but you are who you are. It's weird because the present moment kind of never exists, because the moment you realize that it's the present moment, it's already in your past, right?
Yes, sir.
So it's kind of one of those weird things. But if you focus on what you want to achieve, if you always have a goal before you, you may never reach that goal. You may reach a completely different goal, but taking steps in that forward direction, that's what life's all about. Constantly improving, constantly making your life better, constantly making the lives of the people around you better. That's what's going to bring you ultimately the greatest happiness, in my opinion.
Hell yeah. And when it comes to writing those rules, moving on to number 7 here, develop a new script, rewrite the rules, right? Change the script, change those things that you've been telling yourself. So let's see, whatever. It's basically, to me, it's almost the same thing. Do you see any difference between these, write the rules and develop a new script?
Well, developing your script is the future, right? So I think the rules are the constraints that you have in your life, right? So the rules are, you have to be at work by 9 o'clock, right? You have to take a lunch break. You have to clock in. These are some rules. These are some rules that are set in place by other people, other extenuating circumstances, right? But then there's the idea of, this is your life, right? This is you get to write your own story. You get to go on the adventure that you want to go in. And I think that's where developing your script is all about. Like, if you don't like where you're at, you can't go break the rules, right? Like, if you work at a bank, just because you don't like working at the bank doesn't mean you can go in and just, rob the place. That's not how it works. But you can decide, right? Yeah, I guess it depends on what movie you're watching. But if you can rewrite your script, if you can say, you know what, this is not where I want to be. I want a new life. So I'm going to spend my time learning about this other avenue. I'm going to spend my time creating this type of content. I'm going to spend my time building this other business. I'm going to spend my time dedicating, helping, the homeless people, whatever it is that you want to do. That's what developing a new script is about, making it happen, putting it into your words.
Yeah, it's basically, it's creating that I'm going to be, I don't know, I'm going to be the CEO that earns $30,000 a month. Right, as opposed to whatever it is. It's developing that new script. And I love it, because that really brings us into number 8, which is visualize success. And I do this a lot, man. I spend a lot of time working on my vivid vision, really wanting to clarify where I want to be, where I want to go, and then working my way backwards from that to make it happen. But it really starts. It starts with that vision. It starts with knowing exactly what my life is going to look like. I mean, I have a lot of things down to like real minute details. But it comes down to that Earl Nightingale script. A ship that knows exactly where it's going and exactly how it's going to get there is going to get there 999 times out of 1,000, right? But the ship that doesn't know where it's going, that has no idea, if it makes it out of the harbor, will end up a derelict, right? So that's what visualizing success is all about. It's knowing where you're going and making the plan to get there.
It's getting your mind in a position to take action, right? So just like I said about this morning, getting up, right? I when I look in the mirror, butt naked out of the shower, I'm not disgusted anymore, right? I'm comfortable where I'm at. Am I like, super ripped or anything? No, but I'm comfortable where I'm at. And that's part of why I get up in the morning. I feel like I have more energy throughout my day. When 5 o'clock comes, I'm not exhausted. That's why I get up and I work out in the morning. When I finally sit down to work after my run, I have new ideas and new envisions and concepts that I want to get out. Why? Because while I'm on my run, I'm putting myself in that peak state of mind. I'm thinking about these things. I'm visualizing what I want. And by doing that on a regular basis, it's going to help me achieve what I envision. And that's really what it comes down to when it comes to visualizing your success, putting yourself there. And when you do achieve success,
reward yourself. Absolutely. It's part of my weekly planner. One of the things on there is to reward yourself. And sometimes it's something as simple as Chips Ahoy cookies. I love Old Reliable. Sometimes, if I get all of my goals done, then I reward myself with some Chips Ahoy cookies. Other times it's bigger things that I want, like hiking boots, which I just got for myself, or whatever. It can be larger things. Fixing my motorcycle was another one, a different time. It depends on what is meaningful and powerful and what actually will be a reward for you. But yeah, absolutely. When you hit those milestones, when you hit those goals, when you accomplish what you set out to accomplish, reward yourself.
And don't feel bad about it.
Moving on, last one. Fake it till you make it.
I hear positives and negatives on this all the time.
Yeah.
But dude, honestly, I think it's not so much the fake it part. It's the you're doing it part, right? You're doing it, Peter. You're doing it.
So I was gonna say, like, this one speaks to you. Like, it's take the action. Mm-hmm. It's you've done all of these things. If you do these 9 things, like, this is all of the get your mind right stuff. And now number 10 here, the fake it till you make it. This is the do it part. This is where you have to take that courageous step. You have to say, okay, I've done everything I can to get my mindset in a place where it needs to be. Now I just need to put my foot out the door and start freaking walking.
Dude, Billie Jean has one of the greatest quotes that I right now, it's been in my head all the time. There's no such thing as $1 million idea, only $1 million execution, right? And that's to me one of the biggest takeaways from this whole fake it till you make it, this whole taking action. It's not the fake it part. It's that you don't learn enough from just reading a book. You don't learn enough from just listening to a YouTube video or a podcast. At some point, you need to take action. And James and I were talking about this morning. I was telling him that, I've listened to so many, like Tony Robbins and David Goggins and Les Browns and the Gary V's of the world and the Russell Brunsons and the Grant Cardone. Like, I've listened to so many books, so many audios, so many podcasts. I can almost tell you exactly what each of them is going to say next. Because I've spent hours upon hours. You talk about the whole, 10,000 hours to become. I've put in hours upon hours, years, the last 15 years of learning a lot of what they talk about. At some point, if you do not take action, you plateau on the information that you have. You've gained the necessary knowledge. You know what the next step is. Take it. Go out there and do it. And at first, you will not know exactly what to expect. You will not know what's the next step maybe. You've heard all the gurus, but it's different when you actually sit down and do it yourself. You may not have all the answers, but by doing it, you will come across a problem. And in finding the solution, that's where you become the expert. That's where the fake goes away and you start to make it. Understanding that is valuable, I think.
Yep, it's all about that consistency, getting your at bats, keep going, keep practicing, keep doing it, get up there, try it again, fail, try it again, fail, try it again, get comfortable with failure, try it again. Boom. All right, ladies and gents, hopefully you got some value out of that. Would love to, again, have you on the show. So if you want to be a guest on the show, go to www.insurancebroshow.com/guest. Don't forget, while you're here, if you did get value from it, subscribe, rate, review the show, drop us a line. Would love to hear from you. And as always, don't forget to follow me on all of my social media at Insurance Bro Show. That's all we got for y'all, ladies and gentlemen. Thank y'all so much, as always, for tuning in. You have my heart. Seriously, love y'all. You rock my socks absolutely and completely. And you
have a nice day.
Thank you for tuning in to the Insurance Bro Show. James is the CEO of the Pipeline team of San Diego and is always in the market for top talent. If you're an agent looking for a place to hang your license, visit www.pipelineinsurance.com/agent opportunities or send an email to newagent@pipelineinsurance.com. Look for James on all social media at Insurance Bro Show.